Greetings, friends. This is Denise again with another Denise's Dancing Paintbrush collage. And this time it is the story of the Sage's Daughter, a folktale from India. And once upon a time, here is the story, there lived a wise old sage and his wife. They didn't have any children. One day, when the sage was in the temple, a mouse dropped from a kite into the lap of the sage. The sage thought, God must have sent this mouse to him so that he would have a child. But he feared that if he took a mouse home, people would laugh at him, so he decided to change the mouse into a girl. The sage told the whole story to his wife, and the wife said, Since you are her father, I am her mother. God must have sent her to us because we don't have any children. The sage accepted this, and they brought up the girl as their own daughter. Soon the girl grew to be a very beautiful maiden. By the age of 16, the sage's wife asked her husband to find a suitable husband. The sage liked that idea and suggested the sun god would be the best match for their daughter. But the girl refused the sun god, saying he was too burning hot and she would be reduced to ashes if she married him. So the sun god suggested the Lord of the Clouds as a good match for her because he could stop the rays of the sun. But again, the girl refused. She said she couldn't marry such a dark person that could throw lightning and thunder about. The Lord of the Clouds suggested as a match the wind god who could blow him away. But she refused the wind god because he was always stirring. The wind god suggested the Lord of the Mountain who could stop the wind from blowing. But the girl refused the Lord of the Mountain as one who was too cold-hearted. The Lord of the Mountain suggested a mouse as a match because a mouse can easily make holes in a mountain. And the daughter approved of the idea of marrying a mouse. The sage said, This is destiny. You came as a mouse and you were fated to marry a mouse. Saying this, the sage converted the girl back to a mouse, and the girl mouse got married to the boy mouse, and they lived happily ever after. Isn't that a sweet story? So in doing this collage, I wanted to make it a nighttime scene because I wanted candles. So these collages are made by tearing and cutting pieces of paper from magazines and old catalogs and old calendars. And as you can see, places where I've torn the paper, I end up with a white fringe. And places where I've cut the paper, I don't have that white fuzzy fringy area. So I like to cut the places for the pieces for the face. And I tore the pieces for this girl's hair and then later regretted it because then she's got all these little white fringy areas on her hair, which I will get rid of later. Also, as I was building her face, I used several pieces that I was not happy with later. Like in this case, I put pink across her forehead and on her cheeks, and then it just didn't go with the orangey tone of the browns, but I want it to look lit up because of the candle light that's down below. My fault for picking an awkward lighting source, but the pink is not going to work. I'm going to end up peeling it off and using something quite yellow, and then later peeling that off because I don't like the yellow. It's a trial and error thing. I'll end up looking at it and deciding on it later. And I can always glue things over because, hey, it's collage. And I can even peel some off because the glue doesn't stick that badly. It's rubber cement that I am using. Here's my little mouse, my little he mouse, the bridegroom. When you're doing a children's book, you really need to keep the cuteness quality. See, here it is. You can see that I'm changing the pink to yellow. I was thinking of the candlelight, and the yellow that I'm using is too yellow. And it's not going to work. But the cuteness factor has got to be there. If you somehow ruin the cuteness factor, well, that's it. You've lost the battle. For a children's book, there has to be a cuteness. I think I have the shape of her face fairly well. It's the color scheme I'm still working on here. And that is a battle sometimes, getting the colors just so. If I were working with paint, all I would have to do is paint over it, mix a different color. Here's my little bowl I'm making with the candles in it that my mouse is standing on. So you can see I'm pulling out pieces from my stash of magazine pages to use for the gray and the brown. Inside my little lamps and my candles. Then when I'm finished, I'm going to take it into Photoshop and add some background color and glow around the candles. The rest of it is all collage. So here, as you can see, I've peeled off the yellow. I really didn't like that yellow, and I'm adding a much more toned down tan that I think is going to work much better. Plus, I think that the earring she's wearing was just too bright. And here's the final picture. The sage's daughter. I'm focusing in on my little mouse and the glow around the candles. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe. I appreciate you watching this to the end. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.